distributing monomials and factoring out the GCF. When we are multiplying a polynomial times a monomial, so polynomial means it's got multiple terms. Monomial, you'll remember one term. We can use the distinct properties. So this is something we used in the past. It's something brand new. You obsessed just with integers back in the day, and then we've expanded it to things that have variables in them. All right, next we're going to use the property exponent. And of course, we're always going to connect terms if possible. Example 1 here, we've got this 3x being multiplied by this binomial. So say 3x here, and I have 2x squared plus 5x here, and I am distributing 3x. That looks like 3x, and I include 3x times the first term, which is 2 squared. And I'll be plus 3x times the second term, plus 5x. Alright, so we know here that this is like it has the invisible first power here. So when we multiply these together, we're going to multiply the coefficients. So 3 times 2 is 6. And then x to the first times x to the second. This is where those properties of exponents come into play. We are going to add those exponents. So we'll get 6x cubed as our first term. And then we'll have 3 times 5 is 15. These are both have that invisible first power here, so we'll get x squared, and of course x cubed and x squared are unlike, so those are out. Alright, next we've got 4x times minus 2 plus 7. So again, for x is, we've got our binomial here. So then I can just write this. That's going to be like I have 4x times 2x plus 4x times 7. So this is going to look like minus 8x squared, 4 times negative 2, and then x times x, and then plus 28x from 4x times 7. And all right, part C, we're going to distribute to all 3 terms here. So this will look like, I'm going to parentheses here that we remember our sign. So this here is my pink guy, I'm going to have 6x squared plus minus 2x and then so 2x. So this will become negative as well. X cubed minus 2x squared minus plus 18 because we have 2 negatives there. X. Happens to me on TV class as opposed to my scribble erase. Never works when I want it. Alright, there you go. Oh! Oh, just linking the mouse, aren't I? Alright. There you go. I don't need to put on. So go ahead and you now have the skill to get through examples D through F. So go ahead and do those on your own and then we'll go over them. So totally serious here. Pause the video. I'm going to have a sip of my Diet Coke. All right. So remember, we're going to go through these a little bit faster. A lot of fun because look at all that distributing that we get to do. So here we'll have 20. I'm just going to go ahead, if that's okay, and do the multiplication as I go. So 20x to the 4 minus 15 x cubed is 10 x squared minus 5x. All right, over here, we get trinomial, this become negative 56 x to the 4 plus x squared minus 21x. And less than a binomial here, and cubed plus 45x. So that is the distributed to just here. Okay. Now I'm thinking, how do I undo what I just did? Like, how would I do that in reverse, right? So if I add something and I want to undo it, I take away. If I subtract and I want to undo that, I would add. If I multiplied, I would divide, right? These are sort of inverse operations. So what is the reverse of this distributing that we just did? All right, so how can we reverse our distribution? So factoring, your new favorite term, factoring is what I can do to undo that multiplication we just did. So today we're going to look at a very special kind, and we've actually already done this in the past. We did it first, kind of like with the distributive property, just with numbers, just with integers, and now we have brought those variables back into play. So greatest common factor, or GCF, is the largest thing that runs into each term of the polynomial. So it is a factor that all of the terms have in common, and it is, out of all the things they have in common, the biggest one. All right. So let's look at example 2 here. In part A, we've got 3x squared minus 6x plus 9. So I like to consider first my coefficients and then consider my variables. So I notice that these are all divisible by 3. At first glance, we've got 3, I guess 6, and 9. So that means that I'll be able to take out a factor of 3. Now notice that the first term has an x squared, the second term has an x to the invisible first power, but 9 doesn't have any powers of x on it. So that means I won't be able to take any variables out this time. Now what is left over is everything divided by that factor of 3, because we just took it out to the beginning. So it's not 3x squared, but it's x squared. So negative 6x, but it's negative 2x, and it's not 9, but it's 3. And then if you wanted to check your work, how could you go about doing that? Well, you would just redistribute the 3. So if you're trying to visualize how it works, right? Well, 3 times 3x squared, let's get to 3x squared. 3 times minus 2x minus 6x. 3 times 3 plus 9. And I'm back where I started, which is how I know that I did this one correctly. All right, so B here, same thing. I'm going to be looking at my terms and see what's kind of in common. So the first thing that I notice is that they all possess a factor of 4. So that's where I'm going to start. And they all have at least one power of x. See how minus 12 here has an x to the first power? The highest I'll be able to get is x to the invisible first power. So we've got 4x. And so we need what's left over. So all of my coefficients have been divided by 4. And all of my exponents on x are going to be 1 degree lower than they were before because we took out this linear factor of also have minus. And again, if I were to check my work, I know that I distribute 4x, I get 4x cubed. I get 8x squared. I get minus 12x to the first power. All right, one more. I have 5x to the fourth minus 10x squared plus 15x. I notice that all these are divisible by 5, so now after 5. And it looks like the highest power I have on x is again just 1. So what they have in common, so I'll take out 5x. And left over, I'm going to have x cubed minus 2x plus 3. All right, now you can go ahead and box these up. You're going to eat and we'll go together. E and F are a little spicier because they have two variables, but I know you can do it. All right, so here we have 6x to the fifth plus 12x cubed minus 18x squared. Notice those are all divisible by 6. And each term has at least a factor of x squared. So I'm going to take 6x squared out here. So we'll have 6x squared times x cubed plus 2x minus 3. Next one, we're going to have to think about coefficients, powers on x, and powers on y. So the first thing I'm noticing is they all just are divisible by 2. So I can take out that 2. And then I notice they all have a vector of x, so I can take out an x. And then they all have a power as well, so I can take out y to the first power. I'll be just y plus 2 minus 3y squared, like so. Now, your teacher may want you to put that back into list form. Here, this lesson, I want you factoring out with confidence. So I'm going to leave my answer like that. All right, next. These are all divisible by 3, and they all have one vector of x and y again. So we'll have x plus 2y minus 2. Great job, everyone.